Oh, hey there, can we please talk about UFC Vegas 41 or UFC Fight Night 196? Whichever way you want to call it. It is headlined by Paulo Costa and Marvin Vettori, which have been in the news a lot this week because a certain clown can't make weight. Or, sorry, not can't make weight, won't make weight. I'll get into that more in a little bit. But for now, this is going to be a short video, 15 minutes or less, usually there or thereabouts. That's why it's called the Burt Locker Fights in 15. What I'm going to do is go through the card. I've picked out some fights that I think have either tremendous upside for viewing potential, should be fun fights, and if there's any value in the bets, I look for value bets. Because if you want to get rich on betting on mixed martial arts, you're an idiot. It's not going to happen, right? You're never beating the house, but you can at least have a little bit of fun. So keep those stakes really small, keep those odds really long, and keep those bets terrible. Now I'm about to run through these, break down some of these fights, and have a bit of a laugh while we're doing it. If that sounds good, stay with me for the Burt Locker Fights in 15 for UFC Vegas 41. So let's start off in the lightweight division. We've got Mason Jones taking on David Onama. Now this is an interesting fight for a few reasons, because Mason Jones, I'm super high on this kid. He's fantastic. He's got black belts up the wazoo. He really does. He's like black belt in he's got 3 different disciplines at least, do you know what I mean? But he is so good. Cage Warriors, featherweight and lightweight champion simultaneously, I might add. Do you know what I mean? He's from Wales. He's just very. His last fight, something Alan, like a French fella. He kicked the fuck out of him. It ended as it was either a disqualification or a no contest, but it was I can't even remember what illegal blow it was. But basically, Alan. He didn't want any part of it. He wasn't down because of the illegal blow. It was because of the absolute kicking that Mason Jones had been putting onto him at that point. Now, with that being said, I did notice earlier that the bookies, the UK bookies and the US bookies are at odds on this one, or at least they were earlier on today. I did post a short video because sometimes those odds will change round real quick. But basically, Vegas had Owada minus 675 favourite, and that is almost a dead cert to win. Like when you've got a favourite who's that big of a favourite, that's almost like that's a safe bet. Do you know what I mean? However, the UK bookies had him at a 450 underdog. That's 3-1 against, right? Now, is that just because Mason Jones is from the UK? Everyone's been putting money down on Mason Jones. Look, Mason Jones has got UFC experience. David Onama does not. However, I will also point out that Onama doesn't seem like he's a slouch. Do you know what I mean? He is 8-0, 8 finishes. That's pretty good. I mean, he hasn't fought in the UFC yet, so who of those wins been against would be the question. Now, basically, we know one set of bookmakers is messed up here. That's what we know. We know that one set of bookies have messed up here. I'm rolling the dice that the UK bookmakers have messed up here. Because let's face it, I'm not betting on the American odds because, I need a VPN and all that bollocks. I cannot be bothered with that. So I'm having a quick go on David Onama. Not that I want him to win. I really like Mason Jones. I will be cheering for Mason Jones regardless. But when you've got a 450 underdog who on the Vegas card is a minus 675 favourite, it's probably worth having a little go, isn't it? Just a little one. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, my heart with Mason Jones. My bet goes with David Onama. That is just to win, flat out. Then you've got Dwight Grant against Francisco Trinaldo, 170 pounds. Francisco Trinaldo going up a weight class, because he's getting on in years. It must be harder to keep that weight off. The dude is 43. How is he still fighting? In those lighter weight classes, 43 is fucking ancient. And let's be fair, that's a Brazilian 43. There's every chance he is 60. Do you know what I mean? Who knows? I haven't seen his birth certificate. Have you? No? So I'd like to see some goddamn proof. Either way, Dan Hardy brought up a very good point earlier. It's just like there's a big difference between fight experience and fight miles. Like you don't want to get used to taking all that damage. It's basically is all that experience. Obviously, he has got a lot of experience. That experience can help, but all those miles on the clock could be a hindrance. Now, Trinaldo's pretty active, actually, to be fair. For an old fella, he's won 3 out of his last 5. He's been pretty active over the last few years. But Dwight Grant, actually, he's no spring chicken either. This is a pretty even fight age-wise. He's 37, right? So Grant, he does have significant height and reach. And I think I think he gets a decision. I think this is a pretty good fight. I don't think it's going to be the most spectacular affair, but I do just think that Grant is probably going to use his size and reach to jab Trinaldo just over and over again until the fight is finished, and he's going to take a points decision. So 3.50 on the decision, that's a pretty good bet, to be fair. That might even be my pick of the week, because I do think that is a pretty likely scenario. It's close on paper, like either one of these guys could take it, but I'm just going with the size, the reach, and the fact he is still, he's quite a lot, at a certain point, when does being 43 catch up with Francisco Trinaldo? That's what I would say. So anyway, then we've got Alex Caceres against Choi Seungwoo. That is 145 pounds. Now, Choi Seungwoo is like 6 foot. For 145 pounds, that is ridiculous. But either way, like Alex Caceres, he's an underdog here. And I kind of get it. I do kind of see why. Like Choi Seungwoo, he is very good. Like he is scrappy. Even the ones that he lost, he was like fighting all the way to the end. He is good, but he did lose his first 2 UFC appearances. Right now, his win over Arose in June, the knockout, that was pretty good. But other than that, I don't know. He's beaten some good people, but so has Alex Caceres. And Alex Caceres, he's on a 4-fight win streak of his own. That's pretty good, Alex Caceres, he throws spanners in the works. Like he often gets given these guys that are these up and comers, like Hooper, like that. Hooper was supposed to blast through Alex Caceres, but he failed that test. Alex Caceres, he's similar to Andrei Arlovski in the heavyweight division in that he is the litmus test to get to the next stage of that division, right? Now, this is it's the biggest test for Choi Seungwoo. That I'm fairly confident in saying. So this is the test to see if Choi Seungwoo can get into those upper echelons of the division. And Caceres, like I said, he is an underdog here. And I'm not sure that he should be, he's a 3.25 underdog. That's quite a sizable underdog. I don't think that's fair. I think this is a little bit closer on paper, honestly, because Caceres is on a 4-fight win streak. And I'll get it if Choi Seungwoo was just smoking everybody. Yeah, his last fight, he looked really good and he did get the knockout. But other than that, he's hardly been lighting the world on fire. It's not like, whoa, that's like blowing my skirt up. You know what I mean? So for Caceres to be a 3.25 underdog there, I do feel like there's value just on the win. Because also, he's got a new haircut from the looks of his photo. So he's going to be fighting with a renewed vigour. That's how it works, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? There are worse things to bet on than new haircuts, right? Let me know in the comments, like what's the worst reason you've used to bet on a fighter? I'd really like to hear it because I think why not? So yeah, 3.25. Alex Caceres as the underdog. I'm going with that. Jessica Rose Clark versus Jocelyn Edwards at 135 bantamweights. Basically, I've got no idea on this one. Both of them are fairly good, right? Then neither of them are like, whoa, they're like, the next big thing. But at the moment, they're both fairly good fighters, fairly solid. I would say Jessica Rose Clark probably has a slight advantage in the grappling. I would say that Jocelyn Edwards probably has a slight advantage in the striking. Jocelyn Edwards would be best served to keep this standing and use her Muay Thai and just use her length as well and just keep it standing, keep on the outside. I feel like Jessica Rose Clark might just I think she'll start getting lit up and then she's going to engage the grappling, and that's why I'm liking a submission here. Both of them have submissions and neither of them have been stopped. So neither of them have been stopped by a knockout or TKO. So I don't think it's going to go in that direction. But I do like the submission here because it's 5.50, so that's pretty good odds. You're getting 4.5 to 1 on that. That's not bad. And that's for either fighter to win by submission. But because both of them have submissions, and I think one of them has losses by submissions. I can't remember which one. Might be Jocelyn Edwards. Jocelyn Edwards possibly has losses by submission. Either way. I just feel like if I was going to pick a fighter, I would say Jessica Rose Clark. I do feel like the grappling is going to be initiated after Jocelyn Edwards gets the better of the stand-up, and we'll see a submission on either. I've taken either party by submission. 5.5 out, 4.5 to 1. That's going on the bet slip. Then you've got Grant Dawson against Ricky Glenn. This is an interesting one, right? This is another one where I'm liking the submission, but I'm liking it specifically for Dawson. Dawson has 11 submissions on his record, right? And there are 2 submission losses for Glenn, so that tells me that he is at least, you know, he is able to be submitted. That has happened in the past. So the only caveat for that is obviously, you know, Ricky Glenn, he's got 13 knockouts. He's going to be looking for that knockout. I feel like it's going to be standing until, you know, Dawson can get the takedown, can initiate a scramble, can get it to the ground. I think Dawson gets that 12th submission. I really do. I think that he's quite slick actually when it goes to the ground, and I don't think he's going to get the better of Ricky Glenn on the feet. Ricky Glenn, if it stays standing, Ricky Glenn's probably going to have a pretty good night. He's probably going to have some fun. So I do think it goes down to the floor at some point. So Grant Dawson to get the submission, to get his 12th submission, 4.33. That's 3.3 to 1. I'll have a go on that all day. Then we have got the main event: Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori, 185 pounds. No, wait, 195 pounds. No, wait, 205 pounds. For fuck's sake, guys. Jesus Christ. Paulo Costa, honestly, he's such a clown at this point. What is he doing? Like, I mean, did Israel Adesanya break him that badly that he's had like a complete mental breakdown since, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? He started drinking more. I mean, well, actually, he started drinking more before the fight, apparently, and that's, you know, that's why he lost to Adesanya. And then since then, he's been put out of fights. He's just weird. He's a weird guy, man. I mean, that's coming from me. I'm a weird guy, but Paulo Costa, he is a weird Donny, ain't he? You know what I mean? He's in, like, it's just how there's nothing. Like, you see, like, him looking at like the interview, it's like, I'm not going to tell you why I didn't make weight. All will be revealed after the fight. Ooh, I can't fucking wait. Jesus Christ, Paulo. Paulo, get it together. I think it's very unfair to Vettori. I think it's one of the most unprofessional things I think I've ever seen, to be honest. Because I get it, you know, some people have been saying, oh, but, you know, no one had a go at Diaz when he didn't make weight. So I think they let him know quite a lot, quite further before the fight than this. To turn up the day before weigh-ins, 211 pounds when you're supposed to be weighing in at 186 pounds. I don't think it's out of line for anybody to say that that is just a tad unprofessional. Know what I mean? So anyway, I had Vettori winning this fight anyway, and I don't think the weight cutting really makes that much of a difference. If anything, it's going to help Vettori because, look, for me, Paulo Costa, the fact he's given up on the weight cut, it's almost like he's mentally already given up. Do you know what I mean? I think what's going to happen here is, look, like Costa, he's got decent power. Like he can hit. I don't think, but Vettori's never been stopped. Vettori has never been stopped. So I don't think that Paulo Costa is the man to do it, quite frankly. And I feel like if Paulo Costa doesn't get that stoppage in the first like 6-7 minutes, then Vettori puts a pace. Vettori is a pace fighter. He is a very high pace fighter, and I feel like he's going to put a pace on that Paulo Costa is just not going to be able to keep up with, especially in the 3rd, 4th and 5th rounds. And it's going to go, I feel like Marvin Vettori is going to take this to the floor. And I think he's going to add insult to injury, because don't forget that Paulo Costa is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He doesn't want to get submitted by Marvin Vettori, who is a brown belt. But I think that it is on the cards. It is more than on the cards, because Marvin Vettori will beat you with toughness and just like pure endurance and will alone. And once Costa is tired and he starts giving up those positions, Marvin Vettori could easily get the submission. That is +7. That is 6 to 1. And you know what? Not only am I betting on that, but I hope it happens. I hope that Marvin Vettori just gets, he gets him in the 2nd and 3rd round and just takes him to the ground, and Costa will just mentally give up. You'll see him break. You'll see his will just disappear. And then Marvin Vettori will grab hold of a neck or an arm and just wrench it until he's tapping out. And then you've got the black belt, Paulo Costa, tapping out to the brown belt, Marvin Vettori. Marvin, the Italian dream, Vettori getting the submission. I hope it happens. I really do. I really find Costa, just quite unlikable. I don't know. I just don't know what his deal with. He's just turned into an absolute clown. So anyway, my bets for this one. Wow, that is terrible. Anyway, you put all those together. David Onama to win, Dwight Grant to win by decision, Alex Caceres for the fight outright. Either fighter, Jessica Rose Clark or Jocelyn Edwards to win by submission. Grant Dawson to win by submission. Marvin Vettori to also win by submission. A lot of submissions on that bet, which is why it's never going to come off, and that is why they've given me 8,539.78 to 1. Boom, that is a terrible bet. That is one that I'm going to enjoy. It's going to be an enjoyable card. Don't forget, these are on at a normal time for us Brits. So, do you know what I mean? I think the card must start at about because David Onama's on at 8:20 Saturday evening. Main event 20 is at 11:30. So make sure that you don't miss it, because it's going to be a fun night of fight. So I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. And we'll see how those bets go. I'll review them either Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. But until then, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.